Welcome back to Horrifically Well Read, Bled, and Said. Today we are so excited to talk to Donna Taylor, writer of the recently released Blood on the Boardwalk, which is the first in what will be an amazing series of awesome vampire hunter books that I'm so excited to talk about today. Welcome, Donna.
Well, thank you for having me so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. Awesome. And, as soon as I saw the cover and the title for this book, I was like, I know this is going to be for me,
Yeah, that whole saying of you can't judge a book by its cover, like bullshit. Yes, I can. Well, look, it doesn't hurt it. Okay. It definitely
Right.
helps its chances. And the way it was designed, it was like, okay, yes.
Yeah, definitely. It just, it evokes a mood that I was like, okay, I'm getting, obviously Lost Boys and all kinds of stuff
I
in my
said
mind
that
here. And I'm just
I'm
feeling it.
getting Tom Hanks and Big going to
Big
Zoltar.
with way more murders.
Like just looking at the cover.
Yeah. Oh, no, I feel it. Yeah. No, but that's still the same. I don't know. Lost Boys and Big have similar vibes to me. I know that might be a weird thing to say, but they're very like that sort of like kids on their own kind of feel that they both have.
And plus
Yeah,
the uniting like carnival atmosphere too.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's it. So it's like, I guess maybe I'm drawn to books right now with like the fuchsias, the dark, like fun levels of like bright and royal and navy blues and just like the pinks, purples. And then it has this like eerie look to it, but yet, I don't know, kind of evokes that like, what is that where they shoot at like 7, 8 o'clock.
The
Magic hour. Yeah. It's like magic hour of like horror is kind of the feel.
Yeah. My cover designer, Molly, like I basically dumped a bunch of inspiration like on her desk and she just kind of crawled into my head and pulled this out. Like, I literally cried when this popped up in my inbox because it was everything that I was looking for in a cover. Like she just captured the vibe.
I don't know. Like to have a vision and know that you want something so much and you have to convey it to someone else. And then she like crawled around in your brain and brought it out, like nailed it. I would be crying too.
Yeah. And she's about to do it again for book 2. So
Really? Okay. So you enjoyed her that much. You're like, we're going again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, if she killed it the first time, why not?
Yeah,
exactly. And it's a series. So for like cohesion and stuff, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I need it. I need on the shelf, I need that cohesion when I get them. So, all right, let's go back to the beginning then. So, how long have you been a horror fan? Is this in your blood or is this a newer thing?
No, at this point, it's basically in my DNA. Like my dad introduced me to horror when I was probably way too young to experience it. I think I was 4 years old when he sat me next to him and we watched The Exorcist together.
Wow.
Wait, what age?
Yeah. I have no memory of it. Like zero.
Why?
And then I was 5 and we watched the original Poltergeist.
Ooh.
And my mom said that she found me in my closet crying because the skeletons were going to get me.
Oh my God.
Although that's funny that you would hide in your closet after that.
Right. Exactly. Like obviously I didn't pick up on too many lessons from that movie. But I have no recollection of that either. I think my first real like recollections of horror were probably like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
And maybe some of the like spookier episodes of Saved by the Bell.
I think that we downplay the influence of the Halloween episodes of some of those like sitcoms and things and how much they can really like tap into that spookiness. I love that.
Yeah.
I think we were joking with what was it, Laurel Hightower, about what kind of weird shit is in the bag at Are You Afraid of the Dark when they pour it into the campfire?
Yeah.
I think we all want to be able to like pour that, make it all rise up and tell a spooky
It was
story.
just a bunch of pop rocks they poured into it.
Was it that? Hey, man. That was some serious pop rocks.
That group, though, that was like my dream group of friends. Right? There. Just sitting around the fire telling scary stories.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I mean, really, it was the dream to just have something to do with a close group of friends every like Friday night and go and just like start some crazy ass magical shit.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, that was
The
living the, and
closest.
your parents didn't care. Just
No,
bike,
no.
bike towards it.
No, we're like cuspers on that like Gen X where like you needed the commercial to remind parents that they had kids. Like it's 10 o'clock. Do you know
Yes.
who your children are? And
Yes.
the helicopter parent. I exist in
Yeah.
that weird mid realm between like, yeah, my parents cared, but I still had a huge range where it was like, yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think it's also that, where you said it's like sat down next to you, it's like, I'm watching this. She won't remember it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think
Or
it's funny
I'm
because
here if she has any questions. Like she'll just ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Listen, Adam, you're like not the person to talk about this. You do the same thing with your children.
Listen, I play that role well, so
I don't know why though, when you're talking about like kids and like, not caring, like it just popped into my head so completely side adjacent. But the what is that? The eat my shorts or camp.
salute my shorts.
Oh, my
Yes.
shorts, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like it felt like they were there the whole summer. Like, do the parents just never come back?
They were there for like years, however long that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. My husband and I talked about that. I never went to any kind of summer camp. He did like a week-long baseball camp when he was growing up. But like you
Okay.
watch those and it's like, what who can afford to send their kid to like 2 months of sleepaway camp?
Yes,
Like
that's
who's
Yeah.
sending
yeah. They have like, if you research some of these camps, like they have like trapeze camp. Like,
Mhm.
not that you're planning on going to the circus, you could just do it for a week.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like there's really some expensive camps that are like $8,000 to $10,000 a week, and
Mhm.
it's just like a glorified salute your shorts, but like a little more, right? But
Yeah.
I'm like, this must be aimed at like, I mean, I feel like we do okay with money, but not that. Like these are like the parents that are like, please leave, child. We do not want you home for the summer.
Yeah, we don't have like what was it, Camp Anawana
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of money.
It's
Yeah.
like let's just look, you're our child, we birthed you, but we don't want to have you around.
Yeah. Because really,
We
when you
need
think about it, yeah, it's like they're in school all year, and then summer, it's like, oh, we got to ship them out somewhere
Like,
else.
yes.
I love that. But no, I think like even, it's funny that, you have no memory of The Exorcist, but then, not long after that, it seems Poltergeist affected you that much. And I think that that kind of makes sense because, like, besides like some scary faces and stuff, The Exorcist is so much more of a like mental. I feel like you have to have kind of understanding of things for it to be as scary. Whereas Poltergeist, I'm like, that movie traumatized the hell out of me as a kid too. Like it just, and I look back and I'm like, it's rated PG. Like, what is
right.
happening here?
Right. Poltergeist is rated PG, but then you look at The Lost Boys and it has an R rating. Like
Yes,
who did the MPAA dirty to get an R rating on The Lost Boys? Like,
that,
even for the time, what was about
yeah,
the movie that warranted not PG R, but what, 3, 4 years before Poltergeist got a PG? Like
yeah.
that Poltergeist hit in every single like childhood horror it could possibly hit on. Creepy clown, something under the bed, something into the closet, yucky toes in the swimming pool. Like
Oh,
everything is there.
I think that like after that movie, like every time there was a thunderstorm, I just knew that's it, like that movie was going to happen. I was always counting between the light. Like that's the one that taught me to count between the lightning and the thunder. It's like that. Yeah, that one had such a horrible effect of like scaring me so often. And I think because it was one of the first, I feel like, you know, suburban kind of
Hmm.
horrors where it was like, no, this is just your regular house. This isn't, gothic. This isn't, any of those things. It's just, yep, your neighbor's house or your house, and these terrible things are happening.
And it's like, it's not old. It's a new build. It's so new that the pool isn't even finished yet. So
Yes,
it's one of those, it doesn't have a history, but the land it's sitting on does.
yes,
It's funny because
definitely.
the third Poltergeist movie actually killed mirrors for me.
Oh,
If you,
yes, absolutely. Yep.
I've
No,
never actually seen it.
the third one or any of
No,
them?
any of them.
Oh, I know what
I
we're
just know
doing
the
this
scene
weekend.
of the Carol Ann.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Uh,
the second one when the old preacher Yes, he's scary. And then the third one's like the skyscraper, right? Like the
Yep.
big building. Okay, yeah. Yep, they all traumatize me in their own way, for sure.
I'm like, I'm gonna try my best.
I mean, they're PG, they can't be that bad.
Right. Like,
So, I remember it's so funny because I had cousins that were probably like 10 years or so older than me, and I was probably 6 or 7, something like that, and, um, I had moved up to Washington, DC, and they were all in Tennessee, and, we go, and, of course, they're like, "Oh, your 16 and 17-year-old cousins, that's who you should hang out alone with?" And they immediately start and they didn't even show me the movie. All they did was tell me the story of the Lost Boys. And it scared me so bad. And I wanted to see it, but at the same time was terrified by it. And like it was one of those movies that had such a legend to it before I even got a chance to watch it that it's just like ingrained on my psyche too.
Aliens for me, like, I refused to do space horror up until, like, 2 months ago, basically, was when I watched Aliens for the first time because
Yes.
it was,
oh
like,
my.
10, I think, when I saw Fire in the Sky, and I remember
Gosh.
hiding behind the couch during that needle in the eyeball
Yes.
scene. Yeah, horrified. Like, "No, not doing it anymore," and then I watched Aliens for the first time, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, "This is a movie about dudes making really dumb decisions."
Yep.
Like, that's the movie. That's the whole movie. Listen to the
And a
woman.
woman saying, "Hey, this is stupid." And they're like, "Well, okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it anyway."
right, exactly. "No, we shouldn't do that." "Nah, we're gonna keep doing it." "Okay." Everyone dies. Cool.
I tried watching that last season or last
Summer.
spooky season,
Was it last? Okay.
and I think it was more like a sensory thing. It wasn't even. It was like the alien was so.
Goopy.
Yeah, no one. I didn't know that it was gonna. I was like, it active. It just made me want to itch and scratch everywhere, and I was like, so I'll try to give it a try again because I'm genuinely I like all the like sci-fi horror and all that good stuff, but it was like I never even got to like the jump scares or the. I really want to understand the scene in Marvel where Peter Parker does the thing
Oh,
and
that's the
Iron Man says,
second
"Kid,
movie,
the
yeah.
kids watch more horror movies than you,"
Yeah,
and I don't know what that means yet.
yes. If you were itching in the first one, the second one I feel like is one of the most suspenseful movies I've ever seen in my life. Stresses me out so much thinking about that movie. So, yeah, you'll enjoy it.
We should just like do a live like recording, not a live, but like a filmed recording of
just your
like
reaction.
in fast forward mode.
Yep.
Yeah, and post it.
Yeah, that would be fun. But, um, so once after you were forced to watch certain things, when did you start to say like, "Okay, this is my jam?"
In I think right around 5th grade is when my parents would take me to, like, our little local bookstore, and I don't I don't really have that, like, pivotal moment that I
Mhm.
remember that I was like, "Yes, I wanna read more horror," but I just started accruing horror books, like those little anthologies. I had a bunch of them about like local legends or ghost stories or things like that. And then of course the scary stories books. And my friends and I, we would read them to each other on breaks, like at recess or at
Love
lunch or
that.
something like that. And it just kind of seeped in at that point, and I just started really seeking stuff out, like, really seeking horror out, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and so that's awesome, and, and then when did that lead to sort of saying, "Okay, I wanna make my own horror stories?"
I've always wanted to write horror, but I had convinced myself for a very, very long time that I was just not good enough of a writer to do it. Yeah. Like, I thought it was just, like, more than, your John Steinbecks or Hemingways of the world. I thought it was just, like, that's what the best of the best writers write, because I look at it and I read it, and it was just it seems so hard to convey so many emotions and strike that kind of fear in a reader
Yeah,
that I had just convinced myself I was just not good enough to do that.
Right.
And my very first novel was a dark fantasy, and it had a lot of horror elements to it. And I still was not convinced that I was a good enough writer to write horror. And then when I was dabbling on Wattpad for a few years, I started doing these like challenges. They had profiles that were genred. So they had like a horror profile, they had a vampire profile, things like that. And I started taking part in these little like Drabble challenges where they would give you a theme and they would challenge you to write a 100-word short story. And I started doing that and people started responding to it positively. And that was kind of the push that I needed to realize that, like, hey, you're already kind of writing horror stuff without really writing horror stuff. Like the dark fantasy stuff I was writing was like damn near splatterpunk.
Mm.
Um, that not only am I able to do this, but people respond positively to it. And that just really started the ball rolling. And that's how I started writing Blood on the Boardwalk.
Wow.
That makes the dedication just mean so much more too. Like, I loved it when I read it,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but to the horror writers who think they're not good enough, you are. Be the monster under someone's bed. I
Freaking
just
love
Mhm.
that's
that.
just so fantastic, and, to hear that, I'm like, "Absolutely." Like, I just love that.
I love the dedications in books, but especially when you know why and where, and like
Mhm.
it means so much. I feel like it's really interesting that you say that about like what that means to be good enough. And you know, there's so many books that I've read this year, and what makes it a 4 star or 5 star. I felt like the first like 2 years where I was reading, I was really grading books. I felt like really hard. And now I'm just like, almost everything is a 4 or 5. And I think, is that because I'm choosing better? Is that because I know what I like more? But really, I think it's like when you look at some of these people have such beautiful, intricate plots that have been so thought out. And I'm like, okay, well, that's different from a writing perspective than someone who is so wonderful with the way that they place words on the page. I'm thinking of like, V. Schwab or the Library at Hellebores, the Cassandra
Same call,
Caw,
yeah.
and like Neil's book, his Good Boy. It's like, how is that even a first time writer? And then, Vanessa from VS Lawrence is always like, oh, my silly little novel of Chalupa Cabra. But like, okay, the scope and the depth of all those are not the same things. And I was thinking of like the Red Knot for how well she like,
Intricately plots, yeah.
yes, and it's written well too. But to me, I'm like, they all deserve amazing like 5 star for everything they're doing. It's like, but I don't think they all have the same level of like, okay, so what is it the language? Is it the story? Is it the world building? Like, I just think like as a horror writer, you probably do one or two things really well and maybe it is adequate in the other areas. But I'm just saying like, I would hate for someone to not write something because you're world building or your character things or you're funny or whatever because you know what I mean? You would limit yourself to say, I can't put sentences together the way that my favorite author can put them together, or vice versa, where maybe you're really great with the flowery language, but you lack in some of the plot and the other things, and it can drag in the book, right? Like you're staring at me, Adam.
No, no, I'm interested because I think it definitely is. It's like,
I'm just saying they're not all
every
the
writer
same. Like, I
is
don't love all the books for the exact same
yeah,
reasons.
everybody brings their own things to it, and just because they do this well or that well, it doesn't change the fact that it's a work of art and it's a personal thing, and it's very much something that, what part of it you connect to doesn't matter, just that it exists and that you are able to connect to it.
Yeah, I'm not reading all the books for a literary critique of like what language and how was this, that feels to me like someone who's wanting to get a master's degree in books and study like classic lit like yourself. But I want to read books that, you know, come from strong imagination and creativity and most of all passion. And I think that's what I've been spending a lot more time reading this year, and especially with the authors that we've interviewed. And it's
Mhm.
like that just shines through. So I'm so glad that you like continue to try out those little tests, on the Wattpad and just push through to do it. Because also, one other thing is, I feel like you are probably your harshest critic. You're going to sit there and be like, that was so dumb. Why'd I write that? Do you ever go through processes like that where you're just like, why am I doing this? But then highs and lows.
Yeah, definitely. My writing process is I'm a pantser, so I just like blank blank screen, my keyboard, and I just go. I don't outline, I don't do anything. And so when the draft is done and it's sat for a month or two, I go back and I have equal parts of, my God, English is my first language. Why can't I write it? But also like, oh my God, did I write that? Did I have an out of body experience and I wrote a line like that gorgeous that came from
Oh,
me? Oh my God, I'm never gonna do that again. And then the spiral starts. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely slingshots.
Yeah. I was reading the annotated book of So Thirsty that Rachel gave us. And
Rachel Harrison, yeah.
yeah, and she like outlined this where she's like, I'm really, really proud of this line and how pretty it was. And I'm thinking to me, there were so many beautiful lines in the book. But for her to have specifically pointed out, like, this was a line she was so proud of, I think it just shows to like, you're proud of it, you see it, but readers probably find so many other things wonderful, which was the case with your book.
Well, I have to say, like, it is a little shocking for you to say that you're a pantser because, one, I have to talk about, like, or ask, like, as a pantser, did you know going into this book, was it like, okay, I know this is going to be a series, or were you like, you finished it and you're like, I think I have a series here?
So I knew going into it, it was going to be a series. Originally, I wanted it to be like Fear Street, where it was just
Okay.
a billion books into infinity. And
Ah.
then I realized that as a writer, I do not have the attention span to hold in a single world for that long. So the way that Blood on the Boardwalk and the way the story was forming in my head, it had settled on 5 books and stayed 5 books for a number of years until I got, because I actually have 3 of the books completed. Like, obviously, the first one, Blood on the
Mhm.
Boardwalk. The other 2 are done. They just need to be like copy edited, clean up my grammar because I don't know how to use commas. And I'm finishing up the 4th one now. So I'm far ahead. But as the series developed, I realized that I didn't have enough story for a single book 4 and a single book 5.
Okay.
I completed what was initially going to be book 4, and it's about 2/3 the length of the other books. So I'm like, okay, how much story do I have left? And I just kind of sat on it and like, this is going to be 4 books. This isn't going to be 5. And sure enough, it is a 4 book series. So yeah, I knew going in it was going to be a series. How long that series was going to be, I didn't know until like earlier this year, basically.
That's really interesting. And, obviously you have the little teaser of like the first chapter or so of the second book in this one, but this book, it has a lot of twists in it. And, a lot of sort of reveals of, characters' motivations and different things that are going on.
Mhm.
Now, did you know, and I don't want to spoil any of them, but you know what I'm talking about. And
Yep.
obviously you wrote it. Did you know those things or did they sort of reveal themselves to you as you're writing them too?
50-50. So
Okay.
I go into a book, I know where it begins and I know where it ends.
Okay.
And then I might know maybe 2 to 3 scenes in the middle, and then the other 90% of it, it reveals itself to me in the process of writing. There were pieces of that were surprises to me as well. And
Wow.
I definitely work with the notion, this is something I heard a long, long, long time ago, like early when I started writing. No surprises for the writer, no surprises for the reader.
No.
So despite the fact that I think the general plot of Blood on the Boardwalk is fairly predictable, I put elements in there that you should not see coming because
No.
I certainly didn't see him coming. Granted, I am not the most astute reader when it comes to stuff like that. So the bar is pretty low there, at least for me. But yeah, there are going to be surprises in that I had no idea they were coming until they appeared on the page, basically.
Oh, no, there was a and, they some things vary where you're kinda like, there seems to be more to this person or this sequence of events or something like that. But no, there was at least two things that I was like, "Are you shitting me?" Like when they happened during this book, which is great, and I read a lot of horror. I read a lot of books, so you did a great job with this for me anyway, for sure.
Oh, thank you. Now I'm
But
curious to know what those are.
I'll message you after so we don't but I just wanted to take a moment first because the opening of this book is so evocative and like sets the tone, I think, not just for this book but for like how the whole series is going to feel, like, in my opinion. And like that whole carousel scene is just so freaking creepy. Like,
A
i love that
carousel?
you I love that you did it like it takes place sort of like in the early morning hours, you know what I mean? Because a lot
Mm,
of times,
oh,
so many things happen at night and, plenty of things do. But like this whole scene and like the fact that it's kind of behind this glass wall and stuff like that, that it's like she sees it, but she's not too close to it. Like, was that like an image that you had in your head, or like how did that like whole thing come about?
So San Nico is about 90% Santa Cruz, California, and about 10% Coney Island. So
okay.
what you are reading for the most part is the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. So I have been there a number of times. I actually have it tattooed on my leg. It is a place I am like viscerally familiar with. I know what it smells like, what it feels like, what it looks like. I've ridden on all of the rides. So that scene has been in my head for so long. And one of the more consistent pieces of feedback that I get on my writing is that it's almost cinematic in the
Hmm.
way that I paint the scene. And it's because I see it in my head and I basically just describe what I'm seeing.
That's
And
awesome.
thank you. And I wanted the scene to be super creepy. I wanted to, I especially wanted to incorporate Laughing Sal, which I did like a little post on that on my
Yes.
Instagram and then also on my Substack. If you're not familiar with Laughing Sal is a very creepy, like
Yes.
7 to 8 foot tall animatronic doll from the 50s. Nightmare fuel, quite frankly. And I have her be motion activated. So she's just this big marionette looking doll that when you walk past her, she just like cackles. And it's this kind of
Boy,
cackle. Yeah. If you look her up, you'll be able to see what she looks like and horror show. But I wanted to loop all of these things in to really set this scene. And then on top of it, I just really like abandoned carnivals, abandoned amusement
yeah,
parks. So I that's kind of my little homage to an abandoned or like an empty, closed down amusement park and how I was
yeah.
able to incorporate it into the story.
Well, I don't know why. I can think of a few movies that involve like abandoned carousels.
Mhm.
And it's like, is it the juxtaposition of something that's supposed to create so much joy and like safety that you could be any age and get on it? And it plays this really like sweet music, but then like it's always used in, is your brain going? Now you're trying to think of which movies?
I'm just thinking that carousels have always, I think they're always been creepy. I think the
Really?
music's creepy on a
I
carousel.
like
I
all
think
things about, like, I am so magnetized towards a
I think
carousel.
all of the like animals have this like crazed look on their faces.
Oh
Like,
my God. I love a carousel. Do you like them, Donna?
I love them. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
The one in Santa Cruz, you write it and it actually has I think I might have mentioned it in the book, actually, I might have used this in the book. There's this arm that comes down that spits out these metal rings that
yeah.
as you
Yes.
and
And
you
you
can
can win if you
fling
get the
them
golden one or
sideways.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like makes it interactive.
yeah, yeah.
They don't have one at Hershey Park like that, but they have one at Knoebels,
Yeah.
and it just seems to make it better. But I just would like to go on a little side quest here real quick. side note, many years ago, almost 20 years ago, I was interviewing for a position,
Hmm.
and the most random question was, if you were an animal on the carousel, which one would you be and why?
It's like that really tells you about something,
Let me
someone.
tell you how hard that was
Yeah.
to come up with on the spot. Cause
Yeah,
I'm like, all I could think of is like, okay, there's the horse, there's the crazed horse,
yeah.
there's the horses that are taller than the other horses,
But then
then there's like
sometimes,
the
yeah,
big ass sleighs. And so I was like, you know what? They all seem to have a little something different. So I'm just gonna fucking go with, I was like, the lion,
the lion. Yeah,
like
there's usually
leadership.
a lot
I
of
was
them
like,
have a lion,
she
right?
what's she gonna say? No. I was like, not the one I was on had a lion. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So what would you guys be if you're in any animal?
I feel like I was on one that had a turtle one time, and I definitely
Fucking
am
hate
feeling
you.
to
I knew you were gonna say something weird.
what? What's weird about the turtle?
Who's getting on a turtle?
They're safe. They have shells. You know,
Okay, Donna, you're
they
up.
beat the hare in the story.
Yeah.
I like the horses with their mouths open and their like
Yeah.
tongues flopping out.
Yes.
Yeah, right. They look crazed and
Yeah.
appropriately.
Exactly.
Like they've been actually putting the work in to drive this fucking thing in circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. They think they're getting somewhere, and they're just going in circles
I
the
mean,
whole
they're
time.
putting out the hard work,
It's a
you know.
story of animal abuse. That's what the carousel is,
I just
really.
remember being on it as a kid and like really imagining my parents could not wait to see my smile each time I went around and around.
Well,
Of
that's
like,
adorable.
they just look at me,
It's
look at
true. I
me.
mean, you feel that way about your kids when they go around
But
you.
so how you feel like it's just been nothing but crazed?
Well, and then Donna ruined it further in this book because of what happens.
So she validated you.
Exactly. I felt seen in the opening of this
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Um, I really love, before it gets into like the major, plot points of the book too. I love this juxtaposition of like the tourist and wealthy people that live here, and then there's the unhoused kids. There's drug issues. The police aren't doing what they're supposed to. I love that there's like real social issues on top of this horror that's going on. Was that really like um something that you saw in these places that it's sort of inspired by? Where did those kinds of things come from?
I mean, that's Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
To a T, that's Santa Cruz. So you have like West Cliff Drive, and you have these absolutely gorgeous houses. Some of them are mansions. Some of them, even the houses back like off the cliff that you can't even see the water from, but they're close enough. These little like postage stamp houses are astronomically expensive. Like the
Mm,
money that you have to have in order to have these houses is incredible. At the same time, the city allows their unhoused population to just exist. They don't offer them like any services or anything or any places to go. And in the warmer climates, we saw this a lot when I was living in Arizona, but up and down the coast of California, when the cities don't have to worry about like people dying in mass from
mm,
exposure to the cold, they kind of don't provide them with roofs over their heads. They don't have these places for these individuals to go, so they just exist in the street. Like I saw a stat one time that something like 70% of San Francisco's unhoused population exists on the street, whereas like 90% of Manhattan's unhoused population actually have places to go. Like they have
right.
facilities to go to. So you're only seeing about 10% of the unhoused population, and that has to
Mm,
do with the weather. So yeah, I'm definitely using Santa Cruz as a inspiration there because
Yeah.
that is a very real thing. They have a very real unhoused homeless population there, juxtaposed to incredibly, incredibly wealthy individuals owning these insane properties on the ocean and overlooking the ocean.
That feels like a topic that we could really go down and I could get really angry about, the classism. It's our 12-year-old the other day was singing. I had never heard the song, I don't know what she was singing about, but she said something like, she sang it like 3 times, but the line was like, "I keep a little packet of wet wipes because when a bum touches me, I can wipe it off." And after she sang it for the 3rd time, I said, like, "You understand that most people that are unhoused, it's not their fault?" I was like, "I really don't think you should sing that line." And she was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And so it was like we were able to get into this conversation but it's there's so many like articles and studies on how quickly it is to turn into unhoused, but it's like you ask a different person in a different class and of course they didn't do enough and it's their fault and the bootstraps and you know all those things, but it's like this show of money spectacular against you know strong difference of the haves and the have-nots.
Hmm.
I mean, that itself right there is hard of just people trying to survive and live and
Yeah.
in these spaces while other people have abundance and plenty. And not that people don't deserve what they've, either inherited or worked for or whatever it is, but it's really hard to just, there's so many factors that go into how someone becomes homeless.
Hmm.
Well, it's also interesting in this book, those characters, especially, in a couple scenes specifically, I'm thinking about, um, so, this happens at the beginning of the book with the carousel, and essentially there's bodies on the carousel, and it's pretty much swept away and not talked about. No one hears about it. But our main character, Jenna, eventually, is talking to some unhoused teens, and they know what's going on, and they know that something unsafe is happening, and they're trying to find shelter where it's very hard to do so. So it's really interesting because, it's sort of this idea of this like forgotten class there, but they are more in tune with what's actually happening than so many of the other people that supposedly are supposed to be with it.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
so basically they turn a blind eye because they can. The adults, the,
Yeah,
the,
and
the
it's
teens
it
still
kind
have
of gives you
some,
that feeling almost of like the Jaws, There's no shark here. Oh, we caught the shark. Everything's good. Everybody go back to the boardwalk and everything's fine, right? When they know it's not, you know. So I
right.
love that sort of undercurrent of like don't trust what you're being told.
Yeah, and it's who the crimes are being perpetrated against as
Mm,
well. Like, despite the fact that ultimately the killer is after Jenna, my main character, the people who end up dead are unhoused individuals, and it plays into the reason why the town is not really up in arms about it or anything, because they
'cause
low
it's
key.
for the greater good. It's taking care of the unhoused population.
Yeah, yeah, it's doing the job that they couldn't or wouldn't. So, yeah.
yeah, it's
That
almost like
that's
in
it's
the
so sick.
urban centers a lot of times. I remember
Mhm.
especially growing up like in the 90s in DC and stuff where it was like, oh, it's gang related. It's gang related. And it was just like, who cares? We're not going to try to solve it,
Right.
kind of thing.
That's exactly what I'm saying, where it's like, well, is this a topic that's close to your heart or, that you decided to write about this because, of how some of these people are just able to be easily,
Forgotten.
yeah, or
Done.
just like expendable?
I mean, it's not any closer or further from my heart than a lot of other things.
Yeah.
It just the way the story developed, it seemed to fit. Like, and
Mm,
also when you look at the Lost Boys, they kind of did the same thing.
mm,
They kind of picked off people that, you know, the town may not miss, and the town already had a reputation of a lot of missing people and
right.
a transient population. So
Hmm.
it made sense from like a lore perspective that vampires would be more attracted to this from a cover their ass
Sure. Yeah.
scenario, that you target a more vulnerable population that people are generally not going to care about.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this was like a social commentary on something that, or if it just fit the narrative, but it sounds like it's doing double
Yeah, it's
duty.
kind of
Yeah.
both, right? It's something you noticed in that. So that's very cool. I think that also Jenna as a character, like, is such an interesting way to explore sort of trauma in the way that it sits with people because, like, her trauma manifests in this very, like, real way that she sees ghosts. You know what I mean? But, like, she also is like, I think that a lot of people have this, especially maybe teens and girls, especially that it's like their trauma is like inconvenient to the people around them. So they just suck it up.
Mhm.
And like, I love how you explored that with this character.
Thank you. Yeah, it was I honestly don't know where that came from. That's one of the pieces of her, the main piece of her really, that just kind of appeared in my head, and it's like Yeah, she sees these fangs and then she also sees ghosts. And this
Mhm.
is like one of the plights of being a pantser. I don't really build world or character very much beyond what you read in the book. So as I like move through the series and I write through the series, I kind of retcon in my head a little bit, and
Mm.
my brain will put pieces together where I'm not actively looking to put pieces together. So things get explained further down the road, like why there is a connection between Jenna's trauma and her seeing ghosts, but that's not really explored until books down the line.
Oh, that's so
This
cool.
is so
I
cool.
love that.
It is so cool. When when the first time that ever like that experience happened for you, it kind of like mind blown that you could do that. Like that you're like, oh, my mind actually pieces this together for me after all.
Every single time it happens, every single time it happens. I am that picture of Leonardo DiCaprio from I don't remember what
Yeah, I
movie.
know
Uh,
exactly that with the
Once Upon
face
a
with
Time in Hollywood, I
Superman.
think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just, like, points, it's like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
That's every time that my brain does that. My brain will foreshadow things, it will connect dots I'm not even paying attention to, and then when I get to it and I see that everything is lined up, and I'm like, "I am a genius." I
Yeah. Oh my
know
god.
it.
Well, at the end of this book, I was already like, "Damn it, where's the second book?" And now you're making me feel that way even more.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I love that. And just, I think that the other thing that through the, this trauma and what happened, I have it written down here, fangs then ghosts. I just love that. Like it was like first she saw fangs, then the ghost. And the fact that the ghosts like know that she sees them and almost like trust her to be like, hey, like listen to me, and all that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
how, as the events happen, it's almost like the ghosts like zero in more on her that they're like, you know, it becomes more, pronounced, like them coming after her to talk to her and all this kind of stuff, which is really cool. You both like as a plot device and kind of like metaphorically as to what's happening, in her life
Mhm.
and just works so well. The other thing that I love that you touch on that, a lot of books don't is how much a friendship breakup can be
Oh.
almost worse than like a romantic breakup, And like just the pain, and obviously and it might be even worse because like, obviously Connor so Jenna's was really close with Georgie and then, they had this terrible falling out and now she's basically her bully, but she also kind of has to be around her all the time cuz her best friend is Georgie's brother, Connor. And
Mhm.
like this idea like this small, it's a small town already, but, she's reminded of this horrible, friendship breakup all the time through the person that she is closest to also. Is that like I know
Did
we
you you're
probably
trying he's
all
trying to
got
ask you, did you have a bad friendship break?
yeah, basically.
No, not really.
Well, you nail
And
it really well, like I would have thought you did.
Um, maybe in my head, 'cause there was it was more protracted than this. It was just
Mm,
more like a drifting away as opposed to, like, this pivotal moment that just shattered it.
yeah,
But it's funny because originally Georgie was just supposed to be kind of a foil and not really much of a character, and she ended up turning into my favorite character, quite honestly, because she
yeah.
keeps arcing throughout the series. She will keep
Oh,
arcing
that's
and
cool.
changing. Um, yeah, I didn't see where she was going, and I thought she was just kind of
A jerk?
gotta walk back. Okay, spoilers.
Yeah.
I didn't see where the I'll just say I didn't see where I had words. English is my first language, I swear. I originally had one very narrow vision for her, but she just kind of picked that up, threw it under the bus, and was like, "I'm gonna do what I fucking want," which is like
Yeah,
Pink Georgie. So,
that's
like,
so cool.
she just ran through the book and she's like, "This is what I'm gonna do." I'm like, "Okay, I'm just the stenographer. Do it. I will
That's
document your
so
story."
cool. That's so cool.
What I also love is
So
that, like,
cool.
almost, like, in a way, like, when we look at sort of the plots for, like, Lost Boys and other stories that kinda tell, this similar sort of, I don't know, town, and then this monstrous presence comes and stuff like that. It almost feels like in many other stories, Georgie would have been the main character. Like, she's almost the Jason Patrick character in Lost Boys. Not hopefully that doesn't spoil too anything. but she kind of fills that role almost. And I love that like Jenna kind of starts, ultimately she plays, a vital, it really is about her mainly. But like she's almost the observer of like the one, Connor's almost the Corey Haim role, whereas Jenna's like kind of just watching all of these happenings and piecing things together. So it's almost very cool because it's like this perspective that usually isn't the protagonist in a book like this. And I think that really works.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's Georgie is definitely a combination of the Star and Michael characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to give her more of a spine than what Star was allowed to have
Yeah.
in the movie. And also, quite frankly, when what Michael had in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's one thing that I never wanted for Jenna was to change in that particular way. Like she's changing in other ways. She's going through other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. She's having other supernatural things happen to her. But yeah, it's weird. It's that plot point. That was the plot point in The Lost Boys, right? But I never saw that for my main character. It was always kind of it was a catalyst for her, but wasn't happening to her. And it's
Yeah.
part of the like Jenna trying to reconcile like this awful thing is happening to someone who has been so incredibly awful to her, but Jenna isn't going to be like, well, screw you, go die. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not who she is as a character. And reconciling these things as she goes through it.
Yeah, and even like, knowing even if this person has betrayed me, this person is so vital and important in the life of someone that is so important to me. Not, on top of the fact that she's a good person and is going to do everything she can to help someone, but
Yeah.
also that sort of like added skin in the game kind of thing of like, this is my best friend's sister too, it's just a really cool sort of, thing that's going on there.
Just out
Um,
here teaching empathy again.
yeah, pretty
Or
much,
so, I
right?
mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
love that.
just because, or civility, I guess.
Hmm.
It's like, look, we're not close friends anymore, but I'm still going to be decent. I'm still
Yeah.
going to do the right thing, the good thing, honorable,
Yeah.
however you want to say it. Like
Mhm.
human, the
Hmm.
human thing.
Yeah, actual humanity. That's
Yeah.
something that we don't see a lot of
No,
right
I'm
now.
serious
But
because
no, seriously.
just because, and I think that's nice to see that. Like it's a nice redemptive
Mm,
quality.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and so then I wanted to ask about your vampires and your rules and the different things because, you know, we have a lot of set rules and things that we think about with vampires, but then there's always the space to play. And I think that I really love some of the different ways that you play with the sort of basic vampire mythos. And like, was that fun for you? And when were you like, okay, am I changing them because I know I want to do this in the story? Or was it like, where was some of these things that, you kind of have in the book that,
Or did your brain
um,
take over again and said, this is what
yeah,
we're
that's what
doing?
A little from column A and a little from column B. So vampires have been like my monster du jour for my
Okay.
like my horror life. Vampires have been like the it creature for me. So I know a lot of different varieties of lore around them. So I kind of picked and chose what I wanted in the story. Some of it was a bit more serving for the story because I know I have vampires coming out technically during the day, but just
Mhm.
not in direct sunlight.
Right.
And I explore that a little more further on in the books. I also employ like kind of more folklorish methods to kind of stave them off, both from like a dream perspective, as I do have one vampire that really likes to screw with people in their heads, like and
Yep.
get through them through like dreams and stuff. So I employ
Ugh.
things like different kinds of like healing stones and herbs and stuff like that. That was a fun little rabbit hole to go down. And it's just one of those things where you have vampires in the world, okay? The assumption is you pretty much have everything else. So that just opens everything else up. And it just
Mm.
created this massive playground for me in which to just go shopping. It's like the Costco of supernatural,
I love that.
That's amazing.
Can
And
you say it one more time?
the Costco of supernatural entities.
Yeah. So does that mean you get to like keep re-shopping for this for the next books?
Yes.
like, and okay, so I'm gonna talk because all I know of the second book is from the end here. I didn't even read the chapter yet, but
Mhm.
the title of it, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But I just want to say my favorite thing in this book, there's a lot of things, that's not true. But what sticks out to me is how funny and awful at the same time. Jenna doesn't realize she has this ward on her body,
Yeah.
and a person that is turning, or whatever it is working against. I just love it's like, do you take a fucking shower? Why do you smell so bad? Like that is just the best like thing to me. It make like I was just cracking up during that, and it's like because it's like, okay, this is you don't realize the stakes, during this really funny exchange of what,
Was that a joke to the stakes? Was that a
oh
pun?
no, that was not. That's really
Okay.
good though. I
Sorry.
like that. But but that just like cracked me up like, exchange is so funny to me. And I can only imagine how fun that is to write.
It's like a stink. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I'm like I was like, I can only think that this character probably that's saying that probably doesn't smell great herself at this point because she's, ultimately kind of dying, right?
Yeah, basically.
So
She's
it's like it's so
too.
funny.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
that's the joy of horror comedy though, is that I get to play with both of these. Like while
Yeah.
I definitely dabble in much more serious horror on like my adult side of writing, the horror comedy is really where my heart lies because I am a deeply unserious person and I
Love
laugh
that.
at the most inappropriate times. And I feel like such a natural response when things are going tits up is to laugh or to make
Yeah.
No, I love
so,
it.
and
I love it.
that's why,
There,
like, Connor is, like, basically the class clown throughout
Uh
most of this, and just, like, he
And the
doesn't.
fact that it's like that brother sister, like, again, another line where he's like, Georgie's like saying something and he's like, oh, go eat a dick, Georgie. And I'm just like, God, what a brother thing to say. Like, that's just perfect.
are you the type of person that like you will laugh at the
Really
like the
inappropriate time.
well, like the funeral and that kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Yes, yes. At the person falling down the back of the Titanic and clanging into the propeller,
Oh
absolutely, yeah.
my god.
Do
Okay,
you realize,
so
okay, that is my favorite moment, maybe in cinematic history. And I remember so well, I was 13, I think, 13 or 14 when that came out. And the theater's dead silent. Everyone's like sobbing. And that happens in the sound. Like, why they had to add the sound to him hitting the propeller. And I cannot stop laughing for like the next hour or however long the rest of that movie is. Like the fact that you mentioned that, like I love that so much.
I just want you to know that you have scolded me so many times for laughing too long and inappropriately at movies. So I would have really loved to have been there for that one.
It was packed. It was like opening weekend, I think, of that movie. And it was, the movie was huge. Like, and I
Yeah,
could
we
hear
know.
people like sobbing
Oh
and
my
getting all upset, because it
and
was right
you're
in,
and
yeah.
you're yeah, because it's a dramatic scene.
Well, it surprised me too, where it was one of those like,
Clang. Yeah.
it's like, oh, so yes, no, but
Well, my best friend and I, like, I feel like you and Donna, like, if you were in a room together, you couldn't be sat next to each other.
no.
Cause, like, Jenny and I can't help it because she finds humor in some weird ass shit that I don't. But if I see her starting to laugh at it, I can't help myself.
Well, someone
And
today,
things just become funnier around
yeah,
her. And so the fact that you two both have the same thing that you like the death scene in the Titanic.
yeah. I'm gonna go watch that scene after this
Oh
now.
my God.
But today someone just said, hey, I need to go get an ice pack, and I'm like, oh, what happened? They're like, oh, I spilled some water, and when I went to clean it up, slipped on it and hit my head on the bench, and I'm like I'm just looking at them desperately trying not to laugh. Like so. Anyway,
Okay, so Donna, last night we were going to record and Adam had to run downstairs or something, and I'm upstairs getting ready to record, and I hear boom, 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 boom. I'm okay. And I'm like, God, I think he just either fell up or down the
I
steps.
fell up the stairs.
And he comes in and he's like, my clavicle fell up the steps. Like, how the hell did you fall up the steps?
I don't know.
Sometimes I'm insensitive, I think, to when you hurt yourself,
Yeah.
where I'm like, are you
'Cause it
serious?
happens so often.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't laugh. I
It's
just
like
get,
you
I get
said.
mean.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, English is your first language. It's like, I swear I've had these legs and body my whole life. You would never know it. I don't know how to work them correctly.
The number of toes that you've broken,
Not much you can do about that either. Yeah.
it's like
So,
if there are so many times where I'm like, you're forbidden from playing this.
oh,
Not,
yeah. If we're ever at a family function, they're like, we're doing volleyball. She just looks at me like, the hell you are.
what was the thing that you were playing?
Water volleyball? Who does
No, not that one. That was a great idea.
No, it was not.
You really jacked yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody else that was playing was fine.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you're not allowed to play it anymore.
I've been a middle-aged man my whole life.
Yeah. Oh, the one with Gianna that we were playing with the ball, tetherball.
Tetherball.
The
Yeah,
night before
another terrible
vacation,
idea.
decides he's going to slap the tetherball as hard as he can, like fully broken finger, can't get his wedding ring off.
No.
Is just still doesn't function properly. When he eats, you can just see it dangling. No. But no, I never realized how much comedy and horror can go together,
yeah.
and just so much fun.
So good. But yeah, your lines, they're just so witty, on top of the situation, finding humor in the situations. It's great.
It's just from like the imagination to the intensity,
I think
and then the comedy. It's like this beautiful. It's the mirepoix.
Well, I don't know, Donna, if you feel
do you
this
know what
way,
a
but
mirepoix is?
no, it's a small paw of a cat.
That's a French word. Okay, but it means the carrot, onion, and celery, which is like what is the critical 3 ingredients to start anything and make it taste good. So that's what I was saying, that
I
intensity,
don't like onion.
the horror, and the comedy in a book really seems to be the perfect trifecta.
So a mirror's paw.
Mirepoix. Somebody on here
Totally
is going to
agree.
be like, yeah.
Yeah, she gets it. She understands paws and mirrors. So, but
I'll fuck you up.
I think it's a great way, like, also to really get a character really fast when they like make jokes or
Yes, all of a sudden
anything,
you're like, I like them.
or I understand them. So, do you agree with that, Donna? Like, that's a good like way to do character development there.
Yeah, I think so, because like it is just part of the character development. Some people are very serious. Like I think Mel is a much more serious character than Connor. Connor will just like throw things at people and hope they land, but not realize what he's actually doing, and he didn't actually mean to throw that. Or Jenna, who kind of lands somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite moments with her is at the end where let's see if I could say this without spoiling, where she has this like moment with the antagonist and then ends up covered in him.
Yeah. Yes, that's so good. I love that.
Just to like, I really enjoy dissolving moments like that. Like I'll let the moment rise to its peak and like, yes, and then just dissolve it and then have Connor gagging in the background.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. And well, the other little sneak peek that I saw is just the title of the next book is Monsters in the Mountains. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already like all in. Like everything about that sounds so much fun and so awesome. And it kind of hints at maybe the antagonists, kind of the types of antagonists is going to expand a little bit here too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, I'm
See,
excited.
she gets to have more fun.
Yeah. So, and do you have at least like rough dates for when we're looking at? Is this like a yearly?
So, all right.
Adam, you're putting a lot of pressure on her.
October, November, December, January, February, March, and book 3, Girls in the Graveyard, is going to be around the same time as Blood on the Boardwalk, so mid September. And then Vampires in the Vault, book 4, is going to be corresponding time in 2027. March, April-ish. Yeah.
Okay, so
I
like,
don't have to wait that long.
no, we have to.
No.
What she's really saying is we need to have her on every 6 months
Yeah,
for the launch of each book.
we would be honored.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, let's
awesome.
do it. Now, I just want to leave you with one thing here, Donna, because you said you started practicing with these little writing exercises.
Mhm.
So, are you still practicing doing some writing things daily?
I mean, I write every day. So,
Okay,
and I write
okay.
all manner of stuff. I write novels.
So,
I write like little drabbles, short stories. I'm writing
I love it.
constantly. I have to force
Yeah.
myself to not write and give myself a break.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to invite you to play this little game.
We did this at Spooktastic, actually.
I
So
love that I
where
didn't
we,
say
yeah.
anything. You know exactly what I'm going to
Oh, I
say.
know. Yes.
So, it's like thinking about, okay, so we were drive, to these events and we're like, okay, let's think of, I was thinking like, okay, let's think of some fun writing prompts. So, but of course you can't write whatever. So what we started doing was we just like basically put it on like Spotify shuffle, and any song that came on, we got like 1 minute to listen to an original song and then paused it. And we had to like quickly use that as like the premise to,
The jump off story starter,
yes. And it could be,
as absurd as possible.
yeah, or is completely different than what you think it's about. It
Mhm.
could be like, I know one of the songs we had was like She's a Lady that came on, and it wasn't, I don't even remember what we did the story to, but it
Yeah.
had nothing to, it was about the casino. They were saying that like she goes around and she what song like she's a
Tom
lady.
Jones song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, that one. But it was like basically she goes and she ensnares them, and she knows damn well that what they're going to do to these people that they capture, but she's like the trap. But it was like really a lot of fun
Yeah.
to eat with every single song that came on to
Mm-hmm.
try it. So I was going to say, if you're driving, if you're doing anything, like if you see a song that you want to pass to us, to
Yeah.
try to come up with a creative prompt.
I think our Unchained Melody being sung to Grimace was
That was the
perfect as well.
best. Grimace and the Hamburglar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That song is fucking ruined now. Like Adam came up with this whole thing about,
And it was good stuff.
it was great. So it really forced you to be, and then on the way back, the kids were awake and we started doing it with them, and we'd have all four of us
Yeah, it's
trying.
really enjoyable.
It was very fun.
The other, yes. So
The other what?
we'll leave you with that. But then I also want to just shout you out because I saw Joey Powell from Maddox was shouting out that all of his what are they? The Totally Freak series were doing really well, but they were all number 2, 3, and 4, and Blood on the Boardwalk was number 1 on the Ingram's thing. So congratulations.
Very nice.
The success here, clearly.
And
Yep.
I love that so many, like, congrats to you, Donna, but also to like the other authors that we've had on from the Maddox series.
Mhm.
Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, YA is just killing it right now, and so many good books, and a lot of people maybe don't think YA is for them, and they're dead wrong. There's, like we talked about, humor. It's gross. The characters are very deep, and all kinds of aspects here. So
They have been some of my favorite reads this year,
Mhm.
surprisingly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like in general, I don't feel like YA meanders too much. Like it
Mhm.
just kind of stays on point and you enjoy it, versus sometimes for adult, quote unquote adult books, it's like, okay, do we really need this section? Were you just trying to write to a certain book like amount? Whereas, I don't know. You don't feel like that, Adam?
No,
It
I
just
know
feels
what
like
you mean.
everything that's in the story for YA just makes it work so well.
Yeah, it just, they definitely, they move, but then
Yeah.
they also, like, it's almost like those metaphors and context and subtlety and stuff like that is all within while things are happening, instead of like stopping the plot, and
Mhm.
I think that it almost like makes those things come out even more than in some adult books, so just saying, shout out YA, shout out this book. And so just want to say, where can we find you? Obviously, as you said, we kind of have the schedule for roughly when the rest of the series is coming out, but where can
Mhm.
we look for anything else that you got going on?
Well, I have a website, authordonnataylor.com, and I'm also on Instagram, Threads. I am going to be backing off of TikTok, and I'm also on Pinterest, where I don't have any AI on any of my boards that I have.
Nice.
also at author Donna Taylor. I might have a little like short story drabble collection coming out next year. Depends on I can actually like get my ass in gear to get that together. I also have a Fear Street like series that I am going to start doing. It's going to be anthologies, so like themed anthologies in
Oh,
the vein of like you know how Fear Street ruled, like every book in the Fear Street series takes place on Fear Street, but the books
but
themselves are
standalone
not
itself.
connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what this is going to be. It's just going to be like anthologies of short stories. Cause again, I don't have the attention span to write that many like full length books. So short stories are
Amazing.
what do it for me. So I'm hoping to start putting those out sooner rather than later. And then once the San Diego Slayers is done, I am working on a standalone novel that is, I haven't decided when it's going to take place yet, but it might take place in the early 80s in Sleepy Hollow and be a retelling of the Headless Horseman, but also dabbles in the satanic panic with lots of like good for fun. So
Well, my God, that sounds amazing. I love that.
My
So
God, he shit his
I
pants
a little bit.
right as you were.
So,
Yeah,
yeah. So
I no,
everything there sounds just
it really
incredible.
does
So
though.
no,
thank
all of
you.
the things that you have coming out, I'm so excited. Everybody that is listening, follow this name. I hopefully you already have Blood on the Boardwalk, but you definitely have a fan here, and we are so excited to read everything coming up. And this was just a wonderful conversation, and we're excited to share it with everyone. And just hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Con will
having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'm so
yeah,
glad that you like it. Like that warms my heart so much. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
and
even
we'll
articulate.
see you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.